Does a return home of former captives relate to repentance and returning to God? Let's look at Ezra 8. Who came up with Ezra from Babylon to Jerusalem? These are the family heads, and those registered with them, who came up with me from Babylon during the reign of King Artaxerxes. Of the descendants of Phinehas, Gershom. Of the descendants of Ithamar, Daniel. Of the descendants of David, Hattush. Of the descendants of Shechaniah. Of the descendants of Parosh, Zechariah. And with him were registered 150 men. Of the descendants of Pahath Moab, Elihonai, son of Zerahiah, with him 200 men. Of the descendants of Zattu, Shechaniah, son of Jahaziel, and with him 300 men. Of the descendants of Aden, Ebed, son of Jonathan, and with him 50 men. Of the descendants of Elam, Jeshiah, son of Athaliah, and with him 70 men. Who completed Ezra's company of returnees from Babylon to Jerusalem? Of the sons of Shephatiah, Zebediah the son of Michael, and with him 80 males. Of the sons of Joab, Obadiah the son of Jehiel, and with him 218 males. Of the sons of Shelemith, Ben-Josephiah, and with him 160 males. Of the sons of Bebai, Zechariah the son of Bebai, and with him 28 males. Of the sons of Azgad, Johanan the son of Hakatan, and with him 110 males. Of the last sons of Adonikam, whose names are these, Eliphelet, Jael, and Shemaiah, and with them 60 males. Also the sons of Bigvai, Uthai, and Zabad, and with them 70 males. What strange thing did Ezra discover on the journey with the returnees to Jerusalem? I assembled the exiles at the Ahava Canal, and we camped there for 3 days while I went over the lists of the people and the priests who had arrived. I found that not one Levite had volunteered to come along. So I sent for Eleazar, Ariel, Shemaiah, Elnathan, Jarib, Elnathan, Nathan, Zechariah, and Meshullam, who were leaders of the people. I also sent for Joiarib and Elnathan, who were men of discernment. I sent them to Iddo, the leader of the Levites of Cassiphiah, to ask him and his relatives and the temple servants to send us ministers for the temple of God at Jerusalem. Who did the leaders of the people send for the temple service in Jerusalem? According to the good hand of our God on us, they brought us a man of discretion, of the sons of Mali, the son of Levi, the son of Israel, namely Sherebiah, with his sons and his brothers, 18, and Hashabiah, and with him Jeshiah, of the sons of Merari, his brothers and their sons, 20, and of the temple servants whom David and the princes had given for the service of the Levites, 220 temple servants. All of them were mentioned by name. While on their journey to Jerusalem, what did Ezra proclaim? Did God respond to them? Then I called for a fast there at the Ahava River, so that we might submit before our God and ask of him a safe journey for ourselves, our children, and all our possessions. I had been ashamed to ask the king for a group of soldiers and cavalry to help us in facing enemies on the way, because we'd told the king, the power of God favors all who seek him, but his fierce wrath is against all who abandon him. So we fasted and prayed to our God for this, and he responded to us. What gifts for God's temple did they bring with them? I chose 12 of the leading priests, Sherebiah, Hashabiah, and 10 of their relatives. Then I weighed the gifts that had been given for God's temple, and I divided them among the 12 priests I had chosen. There were gifts of silver and gold, as well as the articles that the king, his advisors and officials, and all the people of Israel had contributed. In all, there were 22 tons of silver, 100 silver articles weighing 70 kilograms, 3.4 tons of gold, 20 gold bowls weighing over 8 kilograms, and 2 polished bronze articles as valuable as gold. What did Ezra say to the people who carried the gifts? And I said to them, "You are holy to the Lord, and the vessels are holy, and the silver and the gold are a freewill offering to the Lord, the God of your fathers. Guard them and keep them, until you weigh them before the chief priests and the Levites, and the heads of fathers' houses in Israel at Jerusalem, within the chambers of the house of the Lord." So the priests and the Levites took over the weight of the silver and the gold and the vessels to bring them to Jerusalem, to the house of our God. Did God protect them on their journey? And who was in charge of the valuables? We set out from the Ahava River on the 12th day of the first month to go to Jerusalem. We were strengthened by our God, and He protected us from the power of the enemy and from ambush along the way. So we arrived at Jerusalem and rested there for 3 days. On the 4th day, the silver, the gold, and the articles were weighed out in the house of our God, into the care of Meremoth the priest, son of Uriah. Eleazar son of Phinehas was with him. The Levites Jozabad son of Yeshua and Noadiah son of Binnui were also with them. Everything was verified by number and weight, and the total weight was recorded at that time. What did the returning captives do as they camped around Jerusalem? The descendants of those who'd been taken into captivity and who had returned from captivity offered burnt offerings to the God of Israel. 12 bulls for all of Israel, 96 rams, 77 lambs, and 12 male goats as a sin offering, all of them burnt offerings to the Lord, for they delivered copies of the king's orders to the king's officers and governors on this side of the Euphrates River. The orders were in support of the people and God's temple. Is there an even greater return of repentant sinners from every tribe returning to Christ? For you were as sheep going astray, but are now returned to the shepherd and bishop of your souls. Does a return home of former captives relate to repentance and returning to God? You decide.